Hey everybody, Mark Herman, aka LA Bengals fan on most of the major platforms. I'm joined here, as always, with Devin Circus and superfan Heath Goldman and Jake Circus of the Jake Circus podcast. And this is the week 6 preview show of Jungle Talk. All right, I know it's hard. It's been a lot of soul searching the last few days. I came down off the ledge a little bit. I don't know when I've been as upset as I was after this last game. But before I forget, if you don't subscribe, please subscribe. It's all we ask. It's a show by fans for fans. Please support the channel. Hit the thumbs up. It helps us out with the YouTube analytics, and definitely subscribe and hit the bell so you know when we get our videos up. And Jake, you do some amazing podcasts. Tell them where they can find your stuff.
Yeah, Jake Circus podcast, Spotify and YouTube. Yeah. How did we get a pick to last week?
We went
I know
1-1.
Cal won.
Okay. I teased Southern Alabama so that I won both, but the Cal pick, I got to give you props. The Cal pick was great. Man, you could have money lined that and then hedged at half. That was you could have made some serious scratch there if you had done that. Money line the game and then hedged it at halftime. That would have been huge. You get double dipped and it would have been big numbers. So great pick. We want another Cal pick this week. So
take the points and hedged at halftime.
So no, I'm saying no. If you money lined it, they only lost by 1 point. If you money lined it, you knew you could have made a big. Yeah, you wouldn't have double dip, but you could have had a big. You could have made a big halftime bet. So and had nothing at risk. So no, great pick. I got to give you kudos. What's that?
I said this is a show for gamblers by gamblers.
Hey, you know what?
When it comes to Bengals anymore.
What's the cap say? Say la vie. It's kind of apropos.
Hey, I'll say one thing. My therapeutic this week was seeing that there was an owner that was willing to pull the trigger. Woody pulled the trigger. Now, yeah. Mike Brown never will, much to Jake's dismay. But I figured I'd just throw that in there for a moment.
Yeah.
No, my comment was I woke up to that news on what was that, Tuesday or Wednesday morning, and my first response is, have we brought Saleh in to interview for the DC job yet?
Yeah. So, well, there were all these calls about
he's going to be in DC somewhere next year.
Oh,
Schechter said he interviewed on the McAfee show. He said he'll have any job he wants, but he's on vacation the rest of this year.
Yeah. So
he's paid vacation for another 2.5 years, I think it is.
Paid vacation. So yeah, there's no offset language on coaches if he gets hired. So
hey, I'm going to say one thing before we jump into it. I watched the show last week and read man, there was a lot of comments from the Dirty Bird fans. They definitely told us on that one show.
2,300. We'll take it.
I thought you guys. Oh man, let me finish, Mark. I thought you guys did a great show. I'll say the one thing. I think it might have been Devin. I'll give him his props. But there wasn't enough said about it. Dick Tobin and his ability to look for talent has got to be questioned more than almost anything else. And you guys, I think Devin mentioned it, but it was just kind of in passing that he didn't deserve a pass. And then that was the extent of the comment.
None of the front office deserves a pass or the coaches. So, and let's get into that. We'll talk about just quick news. We lost Dax Hill for the year. That's really the most significant piece of news. But let's jump into the soul searching. I mean, we had player comments. We had T. Higgins and Chase calling out the play, calling it overtime. You had Burrow say we're not a championship level team. No surprise there. Mike Hilton had some comments about how bad the defense is. And then Taylor throws Burrow under the bus on saying, hey, I called a pass play, even though I went back and looked at that play and that never looked like a formation for a pass play.
Jake and I talked about that night after the show. I found a perfect screen capture overhead of the defense right before snap, and there were 9 men in the box. There's zero chance Burrow checked into a run on that. Right. I don't see that at all.
Yeah, I don't either. So I don't know. Like I said, I don't like seeing the finger pointing and all that. And I certainly don't like that from the coach. The coach is the guy who's supposed to take the bullet for you. Hey, it's my fault. Listen, hey, Zach Taylor, You want to know what you're supposed to do? Why don't you go watch a Dan Campbell press conference after the loss where he says it's on me, it's my fault, it's nobody else's fault, the buck stops here. I mean, that's how you're supposed to be as a head coach. You're not supposed to say, "Hey, I called the right play and my guy changed it." I that troubled me.
I
So
want to ask. I want to
Another
ask
part-
Jake.
Hang on, Heath. Let me, if I may, because it's similar related. You know, there were also a lot of things that you saw on Twitter, and people brought up that there was a game 3 years ago in San Francisco in overtime where Zach did the same thing, playing for the tie, and it was even worse back then because we had the ball first, and San Francisco was still going to get the ball. So, excuse me, he wasn't playing for the tie; he was playing for the field goal. And San Francisco was still going to get the ball back. We wound up losing the game. In the press conference afterwards, he very adamantly said, "I was wrong. We're taking the reins off. We're letting Joe go." I almost went with the Russell Wilson line. I'm not going to use that. We're going to let Joe go, and the reins are off. And if memory serves me, that's exactly when we went on a big time heater. And Burrow tore it up, had a great year next year as well. And here he is, same exact situation. And he fell, did exactly what he said he'd never do again. And, cost us the win.
yeah, no. So, one of the things I did kind of take comfort in is that I did look at the schedule, and albeit after Florio made his comment that night about, "Hey, we could be 5-4 when we meet Baltimore again." You do look at it; they're 4 winnable games, but here's my counter to that: we can't take any game for granted with this defense. I mean,
Correct.
we really can't, and we're going to get everybody's best shot because we have Burrow, and they think, like I said, we're supposed to be a better team than our record says. Although you are what your record says you are. But I can't take anything for granted. But we could be 5-4. With Pittsburgh losing later that night, we're still only 2 games out. 5 of our division games left. So
The crazy thing is, let's say we were 4-1 or even 3-2 right now. Let's say we lost to Baltimore and lost to the Chiefs and 3-2 and right where we needed to be. I mean, you look at the rest of the schedule, take away home and away. We have the Ravens once, sure, the Cowboys. There's not a team left on the schedule. I got it up right in front of me. There's not a team left on the schedule that you should be able to say is better than us. I mean, Giants, Browns, Eagles, Raiders, Ravens, Chargers, Steelers, Cowboys, Titans, Browns, Broncos, Steelers. I mean, you could make a case that we're favored or less than a 1 or 2 point dog in every field goal max in any one of these games. If you kind of forget about losses to the Commanders, Patriots, and the way
the Commanders' loss gets better and better in terms of we now see who they're beating, and that loss doesn't have the same look when we lost.
It does. Absolutely.
So, because they're going to win the East. I mean, they're legit. They stay on the course they're on. They're going to win. There's no reason why they can't win the NFC East.
I want to ask one question that I didn't get a chance to obviously ask last week. You typically make your adjustments at halftime, but when we went up 10 in the fourth, how do you not start to at least pay a little bit more prevent than we did? We stopped Henry. I get it. I understand why we went the route we went, but why not pull it back the reins a little bit and drop another player or two when Lamar's got to be coming out firing to give them a chance to win it? I just didn't see that. Jake wants to jump to that.
Well, they did the opposite. They were way more aggressive, which I wasn't upset that they were trying to force Lamar into a mistake. It just never came. They were constantly hammering the line of scrimmage and showing lots of rushers, and
100%.
they blitzed him 24 times out of 37, 38 snaps. So and they didn't work. I mean, the pressure rate looks okay, but Lamar constantly had time to go to a secondary read, and the corners just aren't good enough right now where they're at to hold up in those blitz packages. So the pressure needs to get there, and it didn't. And those were the second half adjustments because they were playing prevent in the first half. It didn't work. They were just getting burnt, and then they were way more aggressive, and then that was when Lamar started torching them even more on the second half.
But
And I don't
think,
have a problem with that, because if we sat in a prevent and they marched down the field, which, they did a lot of anyway, but a lot less in the second half. If they march down, we go 3 and out, they score a touchdown to beat us. And we're like, why the hell are you in the prevent? You're giving them a touchdown.
Well,
I don't have a problem with what they did.
yeah, I didn't
I also
either.
want to make it clear there's a big difference between prevent and bend don't break. The Bengals weren't bend don't break. They were not in prevent defense. Prevent is playing like 15 yards off line of scrimmage when it's like a 2-minute drill.
Yeah,
They're
no,
in
what I was saying is, don't bring as much pressure when you're up 7. When you're up 10 with 7 to go. I'm just talking drop a little bit and don't bring as much pressure. I understand it wasn't working in the first half, but you don't have as much time anymore. So to me, I would have made the adjustment there, I think, to just try something different, because nothing else was working.
then you get Lamar with 7 seconds in the pocket. And that's when he's really good. Like, you have to at least get him to throw to his first read, and they couldn't even do that when they blitzed. That's the issue. It's not Cam Taylor-Britt, even though he's been one of the worst qualified corners in the league. It's not the tackling. It's the fact that they can't get pressure with a 4-man rush. I mean, they cannot get any pressure with a 4-man rush. Even Trey's been awful the last 3 games. And they can't get pressure when they blitz. Like, it's elementary stuff. Like, this is a team that expects to play important games in December and January, and you can't pressure the quarterback, and it's awful.
I mean, we were raving about CTV. What happened? I mean, I don't know. I can't watch the game close enough to understand. I mean, you don't just become as bad as he has if there's not something there. What is the problem?
He's an aggressive corner. He plays very aggressive, and they scheme it up where he can be aggressive. And just so far this year, he's missed a step. I don't really know what it is, but he's been man a lot, and he's gotten burned over the top, and like he's got to either figure out how to not be more aggressive and just play team defense instead of, I want to get this cool interception and go on Sports Center. But yeah, he'll figure it out. He's a good talent. But PFF came out with this new advanced coverage grade, which is because the way PFF works in coverage grade is they only grade you on plays that you're targeted. So this new advanced coverage grade takes the receiver separation on plays where you weren't targeted and gives you a grade on what your grade would be if you were targeted. And there's 92 qualified corners, and CTB is 91st.
Wow, who's worse?
Martin Emerson on the Browns, which is also pretty surprising too, because he's pretty good.
Yeah. So I just want to add one thing on the halftime adjustments. I agree with Devin and Jake. I had no problem with us getting more aggressive. I would rather give Lamar less time to make a decision and take our chances there. But and I want to say, maybe when in overtime, when Lamar is like taking his eye off the ball and trying to grab that extra peak, I mean, maybe those adjustments and what he saw in the second half leads to something like that. So I didn't have any problem with where we were, in terms of how we called it.
Well, we obviously we haven't figured it out. He's 9-1 against us in the last 10 games, so it's I'm not sure anything's working.
All right, but we had that game. That was our game. That was our game to win.
I got one question on that. I'm curious, on a scale of 0 to 10, 10 being confident, how confident were the 4 of us that Evan McPherson's kick was going through the uprights?
3 out of 10.
You were
3 out of 10?
I'm about 5, because you get to that length kick and it's still, he can miss it. So you just don't play for that, and you put the ball, like I said, we all agreed, you put the ball in Burrow's hands at that point.
All right, Devin, be honest. What were you?
Negative.
0.
I was absolute 0. Ask Jake.
Yeah,
I was all about the football gods will not reward this team for the way they just played this. I have certain mannerisms and stances and positions on big plays. I was sitting back just waiting to see if we were going to get lucky with a tie or whether we were going to lose, because I was negative. There was 0 chance I thought that field goal was going through the upright.
The question I was wanting to ask is, normally the holder is the backup quarterback. Ours is a backup punter who's a rather large man. Why? Is there something that I'm missing?
A lot of times
use their backup, use their punter. A lot of teams, all special teams guys.
You don't want your backup quarterback to jam a finger or something silly happening and you don't have a backup. It's not uncommon for a punter to be the holder.
Right. Remember when Romo went out there because somebody got hurt and Romo went out there and did the hold against the Seahawks in the playoff game?
In the playoffs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Um,
yeah, not where you want to put a QB. So, all right.
What were you, Heath? 0 to 10. Wait, 0 to 10, Heath. What were you?
I would have said an 8. 54 yards with that leg. I mean, I wasn't looking at, the gods and everything else. I'm just saying I have tremendous confidence in him. And candidly, if he had a ball that was actually standing up on it, probably was going to go.
Just do the timing off. I mean, he had weight.
He didn't pull it too. He didn't pull it left by too much.
You guys are recency biased. You forgot what it's like to be a Bengals fan for 40 years.
Yeah. Well, that's the neuroses. It's coming back. Don't worry. They're doing a really good job of bringing my neuroses
downstairs.
back. So.
I was going to pull out my old Bengals helmet lamp that I grew up with as a kid.
Yes.
How long I've been visible.
Yes.
I know that lamp.
It's downstairs. I got to get it. It needs an OEM part in it.
So
all right. So we actually play this week, I think, huh?
Yeah. All right. So let's talk about a couple. I just have a few notes here. Neighbors will be coming out of concussion protocol. And the Giants look respectable. I mean, they went into Seattle and won. They're not, and we're going to get their best punch. It's primetime game. So once again, their loss to Washington looks better now.
It's on at prime time.
They should have beaten Washington.
Game.
Well, yeah. Well, yeah, they actually Washington, I don't even think had a touchdown in that game. Didn't they win with
no? If the Giants had a kicker, if Gano didn't get hurt, the Giants win that game.
Yeah. So, and then the other thing I want to look at here is and we could talk about the defense, in terms of, we've given up the second most points in the league and all that. We already know we can't take anything for granted. But their defense, while it does have 22 sacks, 15 of them are in 2 games against Deshaun Watson and Geno Smith. They only have 7 sacks in the rest of their game.
Very good. Their defense is very, very good.
But the looking at the injury report, I mean, we got another piece of news was DJ Ivy was full practice. So we lost Dax Hill, but we did get DJ Ivy.
And we're excited that DJ Ivy's coming back.
It's a body when you need to play. And then the other thing was Sheldon Rankins was limited. At least he was at practice. I don't know that we see him this week, but that's our injury report there. Neighbors should be out of concussion protocol from what I've read.
He's going to play.
Yeah.
One other thing that I just realized, I'm looking at the injury report too. I don't remember us talking about much on Sunday, and for good reason, because there were pressing matters. But we saw Marius Mims go off on a cart, which very easily could have signaled the end of the season.
Yeah, but then he was back.
Talking that he came back, it was only an ankle, even came back and played, and he was a full practice. So that's a huge sigh of relief there. He's been good. Same topic, and I know I'm totally taking off topic, sorry, but Orlando Brown's been phenomenal. He's playing Pro Bowl left tackle right now.
Yeah.
The one thing you had to wonder if Mims was like, oh God, it was just so nervous because I think it was the same surgically repaired ankle.
Yes,
he may have been just scared to death that, and then they see him back on the field. It was just great to see.
Yeah.
No, Mark, our injury report looks good. The only
guys are coming back.
Yeah, the only DNP is Gesicki, and that could have been a Wednesday veteran. And that doesn't matter because we got my boy Eric all behind him anyway. He's going to score his first touchdown, and I'm going to buy his jersey soon.
And you're going to be adding an XL to your order for me because I want to XL also. So
Zach Moss, that injury, that ankle looked pretty bad during the game. If my memory serves me, he came back, but he didn't practice. It wouldn't surprise me if he's out. So maybe we have the Chase Brown coming out game.
Good. No. That's what I want. So,
hey, Jake, what do you know on Thibodeau? He was a DNP.
He's out. He's out. He had surgery. They haven't ruled him out yet, but they say he's week to week, so there's no chance he plays on Sunday. He's
that's huge. I didn't know. He was hurt.
That is huge.
Wow.
And Neighbors didn't practice yesterday either, so he's one of those concussions where they have to.
I know. I've just been reading all the fantasy stuff, and it said expect him back this week. Everything I've read. So,
I mean, yeah, he should. I mean, yeah,
Got
he
out
should
last
be.
week.
But
It's not like he got the concussion and he's in it now.
better
He
play.
And it
got
was
out
a
last week.
Thursday game. His concussion was 2 weeks ago today. It was a Thursday game.
Yeah. So
But yeah, I expect him to play.
yeah. So, but yeah. So I mean, that's all. That's all. I know we kind of dabbled positive with negative. That's all I had on the Giants.
Well, there's one more there. They have two of their three starting corners were limited yesterday. Adoree Jackson and Andrew Phillips. Phillips is really bad. Adoree's pretty good. So those are two of their four best corners. They're not really deep there anyways. That's where you expose Giants defense. They run a lot of man coverage. And if they have two corners out, then that's advantage Bengals, obviously.
Yeah. I'm glad Xavier McKinney is on Green Bay now.
Yeah.
Jake, is Adoree Jackson their number one?
No, he's a rotational guy. They're 3 and 4 corners. So they're their depth guys.
Okay. Singletary missed last week's game. He was limited yesterday. Probably means he's back. And I'm assuming Brian Burns is fine. He was limited yesterday.
Yeah, he should be okay.
He's a bad man. We got to be careful of him.
Yeah. Well, our offensive line has played well. So
Phenomenal.
I'm in my prediction. I'll give you a little peek. I've got us scoring 30 again. Okay. So
Then you got us losing.
So points are.
We have to put up 45 to 50.
Well, no, that was
it's obvious.
Yeah. So we'll get there. We'll get there on the prediction. So, but I'm not as concerned with. It's about the defense. Can we get some stops? Okay. I don't see us doing another Washington game, but certainly we were trying to. It was Air Coryell last week where we had a 10-point lead and we knew we had to just keep that lead. I mean, if we didn't have a 2-score lead, we weren't, we were in trouble. So
I'll explain after the show to Jake what Air Coryell is. He doesn't know that one.
That's
he knows his history,
but
that
older
one's
listeners.
he's good on his history, but that one might be a little too specific.
The Chargers in the day with Dan Fouts, Kellen Winslow, Muncie, James Brooks, before he was on our team, that team could put up 40 points and lose the game. I mean, that was they had absolutely no defense and an absolutely amazing offense. They were an exciting team to watch on Monday night because you get a 43-42 game. But it was gunslinging days with Dan Fouts. So
absolutely back in the 80s.
Back in the day. So
and all doing blow at halftime.
So all right. So we want to shift over to the good stuff. Well, we already kind of been dabbling. I've got we're a top offense. I mean, we just are. I saw a thing with Burrow like number 1 in like 4 of the 5 main categories. I mean, this team's clicking on all cylinders. We look great offensively. Can we get a stop? Positive. Hubbard shows up, has the best game in as long as I can remember since I watched him running the Baltimore fumble back for a touchdown.
Exactly.
And we got BJ Hill and Murphy back. Murphy only had 2 tackles, but he's back in there with reps and Rankins, like I said, is at practice and we got a piece back. It's DJ Ivy. But I'll take every body we can get that's healthy. So, those are all positive things. So
yeah, our D line really can be. I don't know if strength is reasonable. That might be a little bit of a reach, but we get everybody healthy. Asai played a little better. Murphy, if Hubbard's not, getting 90% of the snaps and you're rotating, your Rankins back, you get Jenkins is looking good. You're all of a sudden you're rotating 7 guys into 4 spots. And we've seen that the key to our defense is getting pressure, taking the load off the secondary because the safeties haven't been great. The cornerbacks have been shaky, to put it kindly. So if the front line can help them out, we're all of a sudden, really, that's all we need to be an adequate defense. And if we can be an adequate defense, we can win football games.
And I was going to say it wouldn't be a strength, but it also wouldn't be a liability. We'd have a serviceable line in there that will help our secondary. So it is key. It's a great point.
I do want to ask Jake a question. Well, anybody can answer. Where's Battle? I mean,
he doesn't play. He's not on the team anymore.
Say it again.
He's not on the team anymore.
No, he's kidding. He got some snaps last week, and he's going to get more playing time this week.
But
What?
you kid coming out of Alabama, you would think that he's got some talent. I mean, it just didn't. It just mesmerized me.
He had inappropriate relations with Zach Taylor's daughter, we think.
He had something there's something going on. I don't know, but I think he gets more playing time this week.
Yeah, watch out for Miles Murphy. He looked like he had some juice coming off the injury in year 2. So watch out for him.
You've been saying that since day one. One of these days, we're going to say either you are blatantly right or blatantly wrong. I know you've been trying each
He's
year.
always shown, and he's
22 years old.
Yeah,
I get it. No, I'm not questioning. I'm
he's
just
young
saying.
and
absolute, not project, but it was an absolute developmental, give it time, first round pick.
right.
So was Dax, and now it's year 4 of Dax, or it's year 3 of Dax. He's gonna miss. They're gonna have to decide whether or not they want to pick up his 5th-year option off of an ACL injury.
Wow.
Yeah, they won't.
This
So,
offseason.
Gonna be a fun one.
no. All right. Well, do we want to? Are we ready for predictions?
Let's do
Let me
it.
hear him, boys.
Let's do it. We
I
gotta
went
make-
first last week, so you guys go.
Yeah, I haven't gone first yet this year, so let me go
Oh,
first.
then you're going first. Go for it.
I think it's going to be a weird game. I think there's going to be turnovers. I think there's going to be more field goals than you're comfortable with. I think it's just a weird one. I don't think this is another 38-35 shootout. I do think there's going to be some defense played. I've got a weird one. I've got 26-19 Bengals.
Okay. All right. Well, I gave half of mine, so I do think we get 31. I'm going to stay with the over 30, but I think this is going to resemble the Carolina game a lot. I think it's going to be where we end up putting the game away late, but it's one of those things like in Carolina where had they converted that fake punt, we're in trouble in Carolina. I think it's going to be one of those where it's going to take a play for us. I think they're there the whole time. I don't see us going there and schooling them. Not with this defense, but I do think so. I've got us at what do I have here? Oh, I had 31-24. So that's what I had. So I'm saying take the over. It's 48. Devin is saying take the under. He thinks it's going to be a weird more field goals. So
I projected 45. I thought it was,
yeah, that's what I had yet under the
that.
All right. Heath, do you make predictions? I forget.
Now I've never made one yet. I'm not going to start today. I'll
There
let
you go.
Jake
All right,
tell us
so-
how it's going to happen.
He worships Kirk Herbstreit when he can't make his Ohio State prediction.
We need to get like the head. He could wear like the, on college game day, the mascot head. We need to get like a Who Day, but go ahead. All right.
You know,
I've been
why
more
wasn't
positive
Chris-
today. I've been more positive.
Yeah.
The previous
Why-
show,
why
though.
didn't-
And you have not been the Debbie Downer, and I expected more Debbie Downer coming off the game we had. So
Devin had it all played out perfectly after last show. He let it all hang out on the negative side. I didn't need to.
all right, we were all negative. That was
Jake was distraught, so I didn't need to pull it out.
no. All right, Jake, let's hear that prediction.
I've got 27-23 Bengals. Yeah, let's get into some college picks.
Yeah, let's go for it.
Please.
There you go.
Wait, before you do that, I just want to say one thing because we talked about we used seasons over after the Baltimore game. Mark, you mentioned a couple days
Yeah.
to kind of get over it. I'm telling you, I may be drunk and blind and completely hurt yet again and not ready to walk away. You look at the schedule, you look at what this team's done, you look at the guys coming back. This team could absolutely win 9 out of 10. This team could absolutely go on an absolute heater. I could take it even one step further and look at what the defense has done the last couple of years, and this defense shouldn't be anywhere near this bad. This can be a good defense, but yeah, look, I'm an idiot. Burn me once. Shame on me. This is the 84th time, and I'm an idiot. This team could win 8 out of 9 games and do damage.
Jake, when you're done, Joe next door and check and see what's in the water bottle, please.
No. Here,
Yeah, anyways, here are the college picks.
there's a reason why there were people that predicted us winning 13 and 14 games. Okay, there's a reason. So I'm with you, Devin. Like I said, we're only 2 games out. Let's get to the 4 and 5 a week at a time. Let's get to the 5 and 4 against Baltimore.
Hey, I'm just hoping to get
All
to
right.
2 and 4, guys.
No, hey, let's. I want to hear another Cal pick. I want another game like that. I was texting Jake during the game. I said amazing pick and they should have won the game.
All right,
So-
Jake, go.
Let's try to get to a 2-0 week. LSU plus 3.5 against Ole Miss, and the Rainbow Warriors catching 21.5 at home against Boise.
All right.
Are
All
you
right,
taking?
Devin, you didn't notice the brand new jersey that you've been yelling
I
at
did
for
see
years.
the Trey jersey there.
But it's old. That's the old color jersey. That is not the new jersey.
It came. Remember something? I ordered it, and it took like a year to come because they kept losing.
He
the
doesn't
order
go to
from
your
China.
website. That's why I didn't ask him to add anything for me on his order. I asked
That
you
jersey
to
you're
add
wearing is
Eric
like
Alford.
4 years old, which is fine.
I still
But
got the
Jake,
tag
on your
on it. Forgot to take the tag off.
Jake,
No,
on your boy,
but he's saying that's the old Color Rush. I have 2 of those. So, yeah.
Yeah.
That's the old Color Rush.
Jake, are you
Devin is
taking
wearing the new Color Rush.
Are you taking Ashton Genty anytime touchdown at -7,000?
You know what? These books, like, I'll say this because I haven't said it anywhere yet. Like, these books that are hanging these one-way markets with the Ashton Genty touchdown is so stupid. Like, if you're gonna hang a -6,600 for a guy to score a touchdown, you have to hang a no. Like, it can't just be a one-way market. You're scamming people. That's ridiculous. Like, because like that's implying that the no would be like what 22-1 for him not to score a touchdown. I bet that every week.
Absolutely.
Right.
Every week.
So, all right. Well, like I said, Jake, I'm hoping you go 2-0 this week. I'm going to be on both those games. Remind them where they can find your stuff. You do some great shows. Love your show.
Jake Circus podcast, Spotify and YouTube Monday and Wednesdays. No gambling show this week, but all my picks are on Twitter. And then in the Bleacher Report app, Saturday morning, we'll be going over the full college football slate at 11 a.m. Eastern.
Excellent. And if you don't follow the show, please follow the show, subscribe, hit the bell so you know when our shows come up. We do previews and recaps every week. And please hit the thumbs up. It helps us out. We did great. I know we had a lot of Ravens fans trolling, but then the views were like, so we'll take it. On some of the Rooter comments, I always just thank them for the view. It's like you could say, thanks for the view, but yeah, great numbers last week. So Ravens fans, we're not going to get trolled like that this week by Giants fans, but some great numbers for the recap. Most watched show in a long time. So
Giants fans are too busy celebrating their Mets right now.
hey, yeah, no, that was hey, Dodgers saved their season last night. We'll see if they can win this weekend. So, but should be interesting. So we will be back right after the game with a recap of hopefully I know it'll be a late show for you East Coasters, but you'll be up because you're watching the Bengal game. So the game that NBC tried to flex out of and couldn't flex out of, we're going to be there. So let's enjoy it. Let's get the win in prime time. And I'm going to say, hoo day, everybody.
Who would I?
Who would I?